Hello, everybody. This is Gerald Salenti, and it's Wednesday, February 4th, 2026. And we have with us the man of men when it comes to the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, and humanity, Judge Andrew Napolitano. And if there were more Judge Andrew Napolitanos on what they call the Supreme Court and other places that are judges, we'd have a different world, because it ain't so good right now. Judge, thanks for being here. You have an article coming out tomorrow, and of course it's in the Trends Journal today, about does the United States have a constitution? And I'd like to read part of this. Formally, the United States still has a constitution. We still have three branches of government. Congress still has the House of Representatives and the Senate. The president is still elected by the Electoral College. The courts still function to resolve disputes and to define what the law means and what the Constitution means. Now, this is important. Yet, thanks to a large measure to the public fear and mania in the war on drugs in the 1980s and 1990s, the war on terror in the 2000s and 2010s, and now the war on immigrants, functionally, Congress found it easy to cut constitutional corners and to look the other way as one crisis after another has led to the expansion of executive powers and the erosion of personal freedom. Before you comment, it's not executive powers. To me, it's dictatorial powers.
It is. It has become dictatorial, not just under Trump, although it is manifest in a greater degree under Trump than it has been under his predecessors. But the idea that the president can kill whoever he wants, the idea that his agents can kill people in the public streets, and he and his Secretary of Homeland Security will defend it. The thought that he can kill people on boats in the Caribbean, that he can invade a sovereign country and kidnap the president from his bed, from his bedroom at 2:00 in the morning, that in order to please Benjamin Netanyahu and his crazy murderous gang running the state of Israel, he can, as he's planning to do, I think, invade Iran, all of this without a congressional authorization. It is dictatorial. He has no use for Congress except when they let him spend all the money he wants. They're about to approve a $1.5 trillion budget for the Defense Department. And innocent people suffer. The poor people in Minneapolis are being arrested by these thugs without arrest warrants under some crazy theory that was originated before immigration violations were deemed criminal, called administrative warrants, in which one federal agent authorizes another federal agent to search and seize, even though the Constitution could not be clearer on this very point. Even though the concept of a general warrant, a piece of paper that says search where you wish and seize what you find, was one of the impelling forces behind the American Revolution when British soldiers used it on us. Now, federal cops dressed like soldiers, carrying weapons like soldiers, are using it on American citizens. Gerald, they dragged an 80-year-old man in his underwear out of his bed and forced him into a waiting van while he was screaming and yelling, "I'm an American, I'm an American, I'm an American." I don't even want to tell you what they said to him. Was foul language, cursing at him. Eventually got out. But this type of trauma is resemblant of East Germany in the 1970s.
How about Adolf Hitler in the 1930s?
Yes.
How about the 5-year-old kid they threw in jail too, right?
Yes. They used that boy to lure his father out of the house. They grabbed the boy, they soft-talked the boy. And then the boy went and got the father, and then they arrested the father. A federal judge wrote a furious, he probably should have waited till he calmed down before he wrote the opinion. It is furious opinion condemning them and ordering the boy and the father released. By the way, the federal judge was in Texas, not Minnesota, because as soon as they arrested this boy and the father, they shipped them off to Texas. No toothbrush, no change of clothes, no food. Just shipped them off to Texas. And lawyers in Texas filed a complaint the next day, and this federal judge exploded and said, send them back to their home in Minnesota.
Here's the cover of the magazine, by the way, a few weeks ago when you're talking about that, with the what they did with that 80-year-old guy.
That's the guy.
Yep.
That's the guy.
And look what they're doing. Like you said, look at the way these guys are dressed.
Yeah.
Look at this with the masks on, the armaments, their costumes, the military costumes. What the hell has happened to this country?
What happened?
And again, you make it clear, Trump is only making it clearer from what the other pieces of crap have done that we call presidents. How about that little boy, that little spoiled daddy's boy, Georgie Bush, who gave us Homeland Security?
Right.
And how you write here about the, you say, then in 2001, the Patriot Act permitted one federal agent to authorize, as you were saying, another to conduct searches of personal private records in the custody of one physician's lawyer, banker, telephone, and computer service provider, even the mailman. Think of the word. Orwell could not have come up with a better word than the Patriot Act.
Right.
It's an unpatriotic act.
It's the most horrific piece of legislation enacted by Congress since the Alien and Sedition Acts made it a crime to criticize the government in 1798. Of course, that was eventually rescinded. It's just terrible what we're going through. It's very, very sad to think that young people are growing up in an America like this, and older people like us remember an America where the Constitution worked, where the troops were not in the streets, where presidents followed the law. This president boasts about how he doesn't need the law.
Yeah. Only my mind counts. International law doesn't count. He called himself a dictator at Davos.
He did. He
said, I'm a dictator.
And the head of NATO called him daddy to pacify his humongous ego.
Yep. Yeah. Yep. Let me see some of these articles I had over here about what he said. He said, the New York Times asked if there were any limits to his global powers. Mr. Trump said, yeah, there's one thing. My own morality, my own mind. It's the only thing that can stop me. I don't need international law. That's his quote.
Right. And Congress does nothing.
If some other president or piece of crap chancellor or prime minister said this, there would be outrage.
Yes. Well, if Barack Obama had said it and the Republicans controlled Congress, they'd be outraged. But these Republicans controlling Congress are supine. Maybe a half dozen of them, like Rand Paul and Thomas Massie, complained. Nobody else.
Oh, by the way, at Massey, I was reading an article. Trump team has already raised like almost $500 million for the midterm elections, and there's putting the money to trying to get rid of Massey. That's where a lot of it's going.
Well, every time they've tried it in the past, it's failed. Trump reprehensibly yesterday attacked Congressman Massey's wife.
Here, this is Trump at the World Economic Forum. The president said, quote, sometimes you need a dictator, and I'm that dictator. That's his quote.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, Judge, here's something else that came out. This is in the Financial Times. Attacks on citizens filming ICE in action spur First Amendment fight. One freezing day in January, Ryan Eklund, an estate agent for Woodbury, Minnesota, was grabbed and handcuffed by federal agents and detained for 9 hours. His alleged offense, filming and following ICE. Eklund is one of hundreds of Americans apprehended by Immigration and Customs Enforcement for recording the largest crackdown on undocumented migrants in recent U.S. history. It is an activity that civil rights experts insist is fully protected under the First Amendment, and one that the Trump administration officials have equated to domestic terrorism. That's the words of the Financial Times.
Yeah, I saw that piece. The case law is very clear. You have a First Amendment right to photograph the government when they're in public. You can't break into the Oval Office and photograph what he's doing in there. But if the president's in the public, if ICE agents are in the public, if a school board janitor is in public, if the governor is in public, of course you can photograph them. That's absolutely protected under the First Amendment. That's what Alex Preddy was doing when he was murdered, 9 shots in the back. He had his cell phone with him and was attempting to photograph the people who assassinated him.
In the U.S., people have fundamental speech rights, and we have the freedom to film and follow cars under our Constitution, said Janet Napolitano. I don't know, is she related to you?
No, she is not my sister. She was the head of Homeland Security. I don't remember in what administration, maybe Obama.
Yeah, 2009 to 2013.
Okay.
She said law enforcement agents should be trained in how to handle and not respond with tear gas and pepper spray. I mean, this is terrible.
Yeah. Yeah.
They go, they try to push, there's another one, Arrow Farrell, a landscape designer, witnessed the incident, another one, which showed a friend of hers, a local estate agent. She said they tried to push a woman whose car was struck in the street, and Beth went to aid her, ended up getting pepper sprayed in the face.
Well, you can thank J.D. Vance, the Yale Law School graduate who never practiced law, who said they have absolute immunity. Absolute immunity. Now, first of all, that is incorrect under the law. Secondly, saying that encourages this vicious, violent, militaristic behavior, because these uneducated thugs in their military costumes will believe that the vice president is correct, that they have absolute immunity. They don't have absolute immunity. And when Minnesota starts indicting these people, as it soon will, they'll find out.
Judge, this is in today's Wall Street Journal. States rush to remove legal shield of federal officers. The fatal shooting of Alex Preddy and Renee Good are fueling new efforts to fill a long-standing gap in U.S. law. It is nearly impossible to hold federal agents liable for causing someone's death. Federal law has long allowed civil lawsuits seeking damages against state and local government officials, including police officers, for violating someone's constitutional rights. But that same right to sue doesn't apply when the alleged wrongdoer is an employee of the federal government.
Thank you, Congress. Thank you, federal courts, for creating this level of immunity out of nowhere. It is not impossible to sue them. It is very difficult. You need to demonstrate that similarly situated agents knew that what they were doing was wrong. Now, this is judge-made law. This is not anything that Congress has enacted. So if this guy, Jonathan Ross, who's the agent that shot Renee Good in the head and in the chest while she was driving her car 5 miles an hour and trying to turn away from him, instead of getting out of the way, he murdered her. If the state of Minnesota indicts him, it has a very heavy burden to convict him. If her family sues him, it has a very heavy burden to prevail. It has to show that similarly situated federal agents knew in similar moments not to kill. Well, who doesn't know that it's wrong to kill the driver of a car when you can easily get out of the way?
And they're not supposed to be standing in front of the car.
Correct.
Again, this is heartbreaking.
Yes, it is.
Federal aid. Oh, hey, I'm a federal agent. I can do anything I want. You're just a little piece of shit. All right? I'm better than you. You're a nobody. This is heartbreaking. You know, Judge, one of my sayings, as you know, is when all else fails, they take you to war. And this, you know, you saw what's happened with, you know, with precious metal prices. Yeah, they went down, but they're going back up again. And again, the world is going to crap. That's why the precious metals prices are spiking. And now there's more and more talk about, will the United States, before you said about Netanyahu, and I forgot what you said that about, how did you phrase it?
I don't remember what I said about Netanyahu, but I know he has asked Trump not to invade Iran because he knows that the response to Israel will be catastrophic for Israel. But Trump may very well invade Iran for the reasons you articulated, to get the public mind off of his domestic failures.
And the Epstein files.
Correct.
Did you see that interview yesterday that woman did with CNN, how he demeaned her for asking about the Epstein files?
No.
Oh, yeah. He said, you know, you never smile. I see you all the time. You never smile. And basically, these aren't the exact words because I don't want to be sued. He said something to the effect that, let's forget about that. We don't need them anymore. We don't want to talk about the Epstein files anymore.
You're talking about Trump saying this?
Yeah.
Well, he's only mentioned about 4,000 or 5,000 times in the 3.5 million pages. Now, many of the mentions are probably nonsense. But he was friends with this guy, and the fact that these files are coming out are hurting him. The Republicans have succeeded in diverting attention somewhat because they're going to interrogate Bill and Hillary Clinton. Now, Bill was involved with this guy. I don't know what the hell he did down there, but there's pictures of him in the hot tub. And I'm no defender of Hillary. What the hell does Hillary know about the Epstein files? Unless her State Department did favors for Epstein when she was the Secretary of State. That's what I believe the Republicans are going to ask her.
And I think, again, what Epstein said about Trump was about, again, I don't know the exact words, but how dumb he is or something. He can't stand them, or words to that effect that came out. But anyway, I think the Epstein file is also one of the reasons why they're going to divert our attention. Again, when all else fails, they take you to war. I think these Epstein files, and again, you look at the slime balls that are involved in this thing. It's from sea to shining sea. All of these clowns that are doing this stuff.
Yeah, it's terrible. There are compromising pictures of then Prince Andrew, which show that he's been lying through his teeth as well.
Prince.
I don't know
Imprint.
how this ends, Gerald. I really don't.
No, I don't. No one does, and it's very sad. And I'm heartbroken. I'm heartbroken to see the decline of this country and humanity, and it just keeps getting worse and worse. And the data keeps coming out, how the rich keep getting richer, the rest of the people keep getting poorer. Oh, there was a big news about Walmart. They're worth now, I think, like $1 trillion or something. And they have 11,000 stores. 11,000. So when you and I were young guys, there were things called mom and pop stores. There were fish stores, butcher shops, clothing stores, shoe stores, drug stores, stationery stores. Now everything's a chain. The bigs own everything.
Right.
And there's this guy, we didn't like him probably as Italians, called Mussolini. The merger of state and corporate powers he called fascism. And that's what we have right in front of our eyes.
Yes,
Fascism.
Yeah. Wow.
Judge, thanks for being here. Thanks for all that you're doing. And who do you have coming up on your shows?
I have two giants this afternoon, Colonel Douglas McGregor, and I've started to use the phrase "the Great" in front of his name, the Great Phil Giraldi.
Yeah. Boy, what that guy writes too, we publish his articles in the Trends Journal, boy. He says it like nobody else.
Yes, he does.
What does McGregor think about what's going to happen in Iran?
That's what I'm going to ask him. He's very fearful. Very, very fearful.
Yeah. Well, Judge, thanks for being on. We'll see you next week. And remember, everybody, go to Judging Freedom, because you're going to get from Judging Freedom that you're not going to get anywhere else.
Thank you, Gerald.
Thank you.